Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third publication reading for my new book, The Low Country Shvitz. I don't know why I'm holding it up when I've got a big graphic right there. They match. I did that on purpose. There it is right there. Thank you for being here today. I'm going to be reading some poems that I wrote on the way to and in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is the third of 4 of these quick publication readings. That means there's already been 2, and there's 1 more yet to go. Last week, I read poems that I wrote in Charleston, South Carolina. The week before, I read poems written in Savannah, Georgia. This week, it's Charlotte. Next week, it's Asheville. That's actually the opposite order that I went to those last 2 cities in, but it's kind of, why are we doing that? Why are we going in the opposite order? It's not because of a mundane scheduling reason on when people are available. No, not at all. It's like, you know how they released Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6 first, and then years later released episodes 1, 2, and 3. It's that kind of thing. That's the sensibility why we're going out of order in the cities this time around. Before I read a couple of poems and bring on my guests, who will be LB Sedlacek from North Carolina, who will be finally explaining North Carolina to all of us. I'm looking forward to that. And then later on, we're going to hear from Zach Singer, who's even now sitting in a van in Charlotte, North Carolina, waiting to sing a song for us. That's what's going to happen besides me reading poems. But before I actually launch into the first poem, I just want to quickly mention, and I'm not sure what this means, but this morning when I woke up, I discovered that my pajama bottoms were on backwards. Now, I don't know if that's because I put them on backwards before I got into bed, or if something happened in the middle of the night and I don't know what that thing is. But that's basically the situation I've been dealing with all day since I woke up 10 minutes ago here in Southern California. So think about that. I'm going to begin with a few poems from the book, The Low Country Shvitz, and then we're going to hear from LB. This first one is called I Wore. Very few of the 14 t-shirts I brought on this trip, that is, I wore very few of the 14 t-shirts I brought on this trip. Addie asks if she can have a couple of them so she can wrap up our souvenir pint glasses. I tell her I was going to wear all of them today, which is not the answer she was looking for. That's the first one. That was written while packing in the hotel room to head to Charlotte, North Carolina. This next poem is called We Take Highway 40 to Charlotte. If we took it the other way, we could go all the way to where it ends at the 15 in California. They call them freeways there, and I believe highways here, but perhaps the most inclusive term is interstate. At the 15, we could turn left and go home, or right and head to Las Vegas, though there's a shortcut in Arizona. The last time I was on the 40, it was when I drove Addie from Kansas City to Los Angeles. The last time I thought about the word interstate was in Hawaii, where they don't have an interstate, but it doesn't really work as it is completely contained within a single state. Sorry, that makes no sense. The last time I thought about the word interstate was in Hawaii, where they have an interstate, but it doesn't really work as it is completely contained within a single state. Perhaps that one should be labeled intrastate. Anyway, it is good to be back on the 40, or perhaps they don't say the here. I'm not an expert in the language of the road, though I hear in Los Angeles they have 40 words for asphalt. I'm going to read one more poem, and then we're going to hear from LB. This one is called Slow Down, Please. Again, this is about heading to Charlotte from Asheville. Slow down, please. It took us 30 minutes to fly from Charlotte to Savannah. It took us almost 2 weeks to arrive back in Charlotte from Savannah. Both trips had their moments. but I prefer the latter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Lenoir, North Carolina, where these last poems in the book were written, is my friend, the accomplished poet, L.B. Sedlacek. L.B. has about 10,000 books of poems out. So if you enjoy what she does today, and I'm not sure what that's going to be, you can surely find her on the internet. She's someone I've had the good fortune to commingle with in poetry circles online for a long time. She was nice enough to write a book, a blurb, I should say, on the back of the book, The Low Country Shvitz, and I'm really grateful that you did that. LB, welcome.
Hi, I'm glad to be here from Lenoir, where it's about 80 something degrees, and then tonight it'll be freezing cold. It's North Carolina.
Well, it sounds like you're giving us a hint at the whole North Carolina thing that you have to deal with on a regular basis. I also want to thank you for your flexibility. I think I changed the date and time of this event about 300 times, and every time I emailed you and said, well, could you do this one instead? You'd say, sure, no problem. So it's, I appreciate that quite a bit. So you've been given the task to explain North Carolina. That's all the direction I gave to you. And I know that many people listening and watching are going to benefit from your explanation. And so I turn the floor over to you to please explain North Carolina to us.
Okay, I'd be happy to. I've been explaining it to my Connecticut-born husband for like 30 years. So North Carolina, our nicknames are the Tar Heel State, North Kakalaki, there'll be more on that later, the Land of the Sky, and the Old North State. And we got statehood in 1789 with the motto of to be rather than to sing. And I have no idea what that's supposed to mean, but that's just, you know, what it is. Our biggest city is Charlotte, which is also known as the Queen City. And Cincinnati also shares that moniker. And I don't believe those two cities are really much alike. Our capital is Raleigh, state bird is cardinal, and our state flower is a dogwood tree. The state tree is a pine tree. The state vegetable is a sweet potato, or if you say it here, it's a sweet tater. Most importantly, our state snack is the Krispy Kreme donut. Now, this is the state where the first gold rush happened in 1799. And yes, you will have neighbors who will be gold mining and tell you all about it. Hello is said as, hey, y'all. If you're referring to two people, it's y'all two, and a group is y'all. Somehow we are the ninth most populous state because everybody keeps moving here, including most of my in-laws. Food that we're known for is the Krispy Kreme donut, barbecue, liver mush, and cheerwine. And I'm still trying to explain liver mush to my husband. He will not eat it. Cheerwine is the best drink ever. This is cheerwine, and there's no wine in cheerwine. We have two kinds of barbecue, Eastern style with lemon juice or vinegar and no tomatoes, and Western or Lexington with sauce made with butter, sugar, and ketchup. Now, I don't eat barbecue, but a lot of people do, and they will argue over which barbecue is better. Pepsi was invented in New Bern, but cheerwine is better. So sorry, Pepsi. You don't have to order sweet tea here. It's just served that way. And if you want unsweet tea, it's still sweet. And if you drink plain hot tea with nothing in it, like I do, they think you're from somewhere else. Vicks Vapor Rub, Texas Pete, and Putt Putt Golf were invented here in North Carolina. We have two state dances, clogging and shagging. Clogging is like the river dance with bluegrass music or country music, and shagging is the swing dance with beach music. The Outer Banks is not in Charleston, and Kildare County is not a real county, and there is no ferry to Chapel Hill. Sorry, Outer Banks show on Netflix. And yes, we all watch it anyway. It's pronounced Appalachian. The Appalachian Trail, Appalachian State University. And if you say Appalachian, we know you're not from here. Did you know that Dirty Dancing was filmed at Lake Lure? or that The Last of the Mohicans was filmed at Chimney Rock, or that Being There, Richie Rich, and a dozen other movies were filmed at the Biltmore Estate. You will if you come to North Carolina. It does snow here, but in markedly different amounts. So for instance, I live in the foothills, which you can see behind me in my background. And 20 minutes away in the mountains, you could have 7 inches of snow, where in the foothills, you might have half an inch. Our official fruit is the Scuppernong grape, which makes a very good wine. Some famous North Carolinians are Andy Griffith, Julianne Moore, Soupy Sales, Howard Cosell, John Coltrane, Luke Combs, Roberta Flack, Charlie Daniels, Nina Simone, and those guys from NASCAR. You can find the Land of Oz, my t-shirt. The former theme park for the Wizard of Oz is at the top of Beech Mountain. We have a cryptozoology and paranormal museum in Littleton, and the Bigfoot Festival and Liver Mush Festival in Marion. And the Liver Mush Festival just happened last week. I think the Bigfoot Festival was the week before. So if you ever get to Marion. Now back to North Kakalaki. So North Kakalaki came from a military term. The first time I really heard it is one of my brother-in-laws would talk about North Kakalaki. And as I mentioned before, everybody moving here, well, they all moved here last year. But anyway, North Kakalaki means you set up your nice pool deck chairs in front of a kiddie pool in your front yard, and that's your swimming pool. Or as one of my neighbors has done, trying to get water out of their yard, they took a stack of bricks about this big and gutter pipe that you'd buy like in the hardware store to divert the rainwater. That didn't really work. Or you pave a portion of your front yard, and if you need more places to park your car, you just put a sidewalk in your front yard. That's North Kakalaki. Now you could be from North Carolina if you know what could means. For instance, could go to lunch one day means we will never ever go to lunch. From the beaches to the Piedmont to the foothills, I like calling North Carolina home. Now that was a tourism song from the 80s. I didn't write that, but I could have.
LB, that's if I were like your teacher and you had been given that assignment, you would get an A+ for that. I think I know a whole lot more about the state. I think I'll be using the phrase North Kakalaki hereforth in every situation, even when not referring to the state. I think the definition of shagging is suspect based on my knowledge of the Austin Powers movies, but I'm just going to let that one slide. And I'm really curious about cheerwine, and I'm going to try to figure out what that is and how to get myself some here in Southern California. Thank you so much for that really thorough and cool explanation of the state.
Oh, well, you're welcome. And I just want to tell you that today, coincidentally, this came in the mail. So I'm very happy about that. My favorite poem in the book is the one you wrote about the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is about 20 minutes from where I live. So I really, really enjoyed that because, I mean, you really got that spot on. There are endless overlooks on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and try to turn around.
I remember, like thinking, oh, we got to plan where we're going to go there and find the right destination. And someone's like, no, just drive up there. There's going to be a million places to pull over and look. And we did, and it all worked out fine. LB, thank you again. I'm so glad the book got to you today, and I really appreciate your time and flexibility and the blurb on the back cover and everything. And looking forward to the next time we get to do something.
Yeah, me too. Well, thanks for having me today, and it was my pleasure to read your book. I really enjoyed it.
Cool, awesome. You got a website, or where's the best place for people to hear more from you?
Yeah, I have a website. It's www.lbsedlacek.com. And I say that like people can spell Sedlacek, they can't.
Sedlacek.
That's it.
And we'll post a link on the Facebook in a comment too.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, anyone watching, a round of applause for LB Sedlacek, North Carolina expert and resident and poet. Really appreciate you being here. Before we get to our next guest, Zach, I'm going to read a poem that I wrote about visiting Zach and his family. We spent a night in Charlotte, the Queen City, the largest city in North Carolina. And this is about meeting them at a restaurant there. This poem is called "There is a Revolution of Singers at Oh My Soul in Noda, Charlotte, North Carolina." Dylan and Ella, the youngest of the bunch, perform on stage, twirling, dancing, and occasionally throwing rocks. The number of shoes they are wearing changes frequently. This is not the first child we've seen today wearing a suspect number of shoes. Ella says, "Mommy, I love you." She may want something, but she's too cute not to have whatever it is. Kim and Zach are the oldest of the singers. They eat meat and we're okay with that, especially since they sent us a list of vegetarian restaurants for us to choose from. A lot of their focus is on wrangling the younger singers' dance performance. That is simply to say, they are parents and this is how it is done. They have two flavors of wings. One is unreasonably spicy, and not everyone realizes that only one of them has these. All is revealed after a wing exchange. I start to answer different questions 3 times, one about the Asheville ritual, one about The Simpsons, and another, the topic of which I forget. My answers trail off into the younger singer's dance performance. The show must go on for at least 18 years, probably more, if that's how you parentally roll. There you go. That's a poem from my friend Zach Singer and family. Zach, it was such a treat to spend time with you in Charlotte, and I really appreciate you being here today. I know you're in the back of a van because you're sitting outside of a gig. You've got a performance coming up, and I think it's awesome that you're here. And thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm glad we could work this out. And I learned a lot from LP right now. Especially, I know a song that one of the lines is "From Atlanta all the way to Cackalack," and now I understand what that means. Yes, thank you, Rick, for honoring us with that visit. And yes, the children are difficult to wrangle. A little easier now, or at least their vocabulary is bigger. I'd like to sing a song that I didn't write, but is by one of the great North Carolina, Charlotte area songwriters and bands. It's called "I Wish I Was" by Seth Avett of the Avett Brothers. I like to sing it to my wife, Kim, and the sentiment I can easily see from what I know about Rick's relationship with his wife, Addie. And I think I've got, I think it's this position. Also, I figured out the original sound. It should sound a lot better now. I wish I was a flame, dancing in a candle, lighting up your living room, high on the mantle. I could bring you romance without any scandal. When you were done, you just put me out. I wish I was a tune you sang in your kitchen, putting your groceries away and washing your dishes. I could roll around your tongue and ease the tension. And when you're done, you just quiet down. But if I get too close, will the magic fade? Would I turn you off or away? If I pull you in, Would I push you out of something here you care about? Well, I'm at a loss for what to do. I'm drawn to you. I wish I was a sweater wrapped around your hips. And when it got too cold, into me you'd slip. And when the sun came back, you would hang me up. And I would watch you as you undress. But if I get too close, will the magic fade? Would I turn you off or away? If I pull you in, would I push you out of something here you care about? Well, I'm at a loss for what to do. I'm drawn to you. I'm not a song. I am not a sweater. I'm not a fire. I am something better. I'm a man in love, writing you a letter. Will you take it? Will you read it? Will you keep it? Believe it. I love you. I'm sorry.
Zach, that was really sweet and awesome. Thank you for bringing a native North Carolinian singer-songwriter to us. You may not be a sweater or fire, but you're warm like both of those things. You know what I'm saying? So I really dug that a lot. It was such a treat to like spend time with you in your home and to meet Kim and Dylan and Ella and eat good food with you. And really appreciate that you're here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know you got to head inside in a few minutes to get to your gig. You got anything else you want to tell us or how to get in touch with you before I let you go?
Yeah, I mean, you can easily find me on YouTube, Spotify, wherever else. There's some hidden classic gems on SoundCloud that I don't share so much with people. Facebook, Instagram, especially if you want to see pictures of kids. Yeah, follow me at all the places that you like to follow people. And the other things that I'll say that I know about Carolina and like are biscuits and pimento cheese.
Indeed. The subtitle of the whole trip that we went on was we were like on a biscuit tour of the South, and definitely of all the biscuits we had in the South, I think the best ones were at the place that we had breakfast with you on the morning that we were there. I forget the name.
Vicious biscuits.
Vicious biscuits.
Vicious.
Yeah. Those are the best. So cool. Well, thank you for all that. Thank you for being here. Zach Singer, ZACH Singer, at all the places you want to check him out, and break a leg tonight or this afternoon. All right. Round of applause for Zach Singer. Everyone, thank you so much, Zach, for being here. All right, folks, I'm going to close out this third of 4 publication readings with just a few more poems written in North Carolina, and then we're going to call it a day, or at least a day, an event. We'll call it an event. You could still have more of your day. That's completely fine. This next poem also for Zach's family. We went to Zach's home, and his daughter Ella had set up this whole restaurant for us called Toe Eyes. This poem is called Toe Eyes. We dine at Toe Eyes restaurant at the Singer compound. Everything is pre-planned. The salad, the single mushrooms, The fact that we can pay using our phones, even though we were handed the local currency prior to stopping in. We don't have avocados, says Ella. She is the proprietor and has been planning this for weeks. The specialty is cotton candy pizza, alarmingly served with mushrooms. We are offered veggie bacon, and then the restaurant is abandoned for the drawing station. She draws a butterfly, and then everyone agrees next should be a baby butterfly. Addie gets to sign her name, and Ella asks, what about the ant part? I'm not sure who has adopted who here, but both of them are on board. No one knows what happened to the ears on Ella's doll. No one really needs to know. Just a few more. This one is called All You Need Is Knowledge of All You Need Is Love. The man behind the Charlotte hotel desk has never heard of the song All You Need Is Love. I want to say I'm feeling old, but he's about my age. I thought the Beatles was one of those groups where everyone on earth knew every one of their songs. I'm glad to have put this one on his radar, but it is me who has learned something today. This just in, Ari, the last poem, this is actually the drawing that Ella Singer drew of the butterfly and baby butterfly. Addie was required to, I guess Addie drew this too, huh? Addie was required to sign Ant to forever seal the deal of their relationship together. Addie rushed in to bring that to me. Everyone should have an Addie to rush in and bring things to you when you need them. Two more poems. This one is called 4-3 2-line stanzas. The bartender smokes the cocktail after it's been put in the glass, which our cocktail tour guide last night would not have approved of. It's okay. His double-fisted shaking mambo, plus the smoke drifting to our table before the drinks arrive, let us know it will be an experience no matter when the smoke was applied. And finally, this poem is called More Vacation Minutes. This is really towards the end of the book, and I was really getting nostalgic about the trip ending. I think I actually wrote this in the airport, as a matter of fact. But don't be confused. We're going back in time next week for poems from Asheville. More on that in a second. This poem is called More Vacation Minutes. The plane is coming. The plane is delayed 10 minutes. The plane is delayed an hour. The plane has landed. The plane is coming to the gate. The flight is delayed. The flight is delayed a week. The flight is delayed until climate change changes. The plane and the flight have not spoken for years. It's time to get off the plane. Not me, them. The plane has lasagna on it. The lasagna is delayed. Here is the plane with the lasagna. Here is the plane. Who will operate the jetway? Who will open the door? Who will walk the walk? Where will they go? Who will greet them? Will they be okay? The plane is here. The plane. I feel a little bit like Hervé Villechaize at the opening to a Fantasy Island at the end there saying the plane. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is my poems from Charlotte, North Carolina this week. I really appreciate you tuning in and listening. If you're interested in checking out more from the book, you can go to this link there, poetrysuperhighway.com/Shvitz. You can read a few more poems from the book. There are links there on how to get yourself a copy. I think I left up the special, which I put up last week, where you can get a signed copy and an immediate ebook download. So get that if you want, before I realize I was crazy to put that up and take it down. And I'll also mention that next week I will be doing another reading from this book. Let me show you the flyer for that. There you go. Next week, next Saturday, a week from today, later in the day, 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern, I'll be reading poems I wrote in Asheville, North Carolina. Maybe I'll read that one about the Blue Ridge Parkway that LB liked. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. No promises, but it's a possibility. And joining me will be Asheville resident Billy Jonas, who is another singer-songwriter, really accomplished and somewhat famous, actually, children's musician. And he's a pal of ours from the same place that we know Zach from as well, a music conference called Havanashira. Actually, I've known Zach from way before I first attended Havanashira. Now that I think about it, Zach and I go way back. So Billy will be here singing a song when I also read poems from Asheville. Thank you again, Zach, for being here with us. Hope your gig tonight goes really well. LB, thank you so much as well. Really awesome to hear your explanation of North Carolina. And that's it, folks. Hope you join me next week. Thanks for watching. All right. I stopped the Facebook thingy.